Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, episode number 38, brought to you by the Outright Geekery Podcast Network at outrightgeekery.com. Also by the S&B Network on YouTube. Be sure to hit that like button, leave us a comment, and subscribe. My name is Boogie Bentley.
Balls JP.
Our main.
We are at Talkin VAWLS _pod on Facebook and Twitter. That's VAWLS. Give us a follow. Also, we're getting real close on YouTube to giving away a $50 Amazon gift card when we hit 1,000 subscribers. I think the last time I looked, we're like 37, 38 subscribers away, something like that. So even if you listen on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcast needs, jump over to YouTube. It's S and sign B Network, or just search Talkin VAWLS, VAWLS, and subscribe. Once we reach 1,000 subscribers, we're going to give away that $50 Amazon gift card. But boys, I guess it's no real surprise. I mean, it is what it is. Tennessee drops a game to Alabama, 58-21. I'm trying real hard to not focus on this game. I guess I'm the curse. I didn't get to take part last week during the Auburn game. Appreciate you guys stepping up while Wade Adams, and myself were off promoting Comic Cast. But big win against Auburn, and I'm trying to focus on the positives because there are some positives to be seen. I think, is this the best Alabama team that we've seen since Nick Saban took over?
Certainly the offense. I mean, in years past, it was that they just had a game manager, really. But, I mean, now they got Tua Tagliavola, or whatever his name is. I mean, that guy's just unreal. I mean, like, I would say that the Buffalo Bills would give anything if he was playing for them right now.
Yeah, I think so too. I think their offense is best it's been. I mean, they've always had a strong defense, and they still do. But their offense, man, it's just all over. I don't see anybody stopping that team.
I mean, we talked about it Saturday during the game. There were how many times where Tennessee defensive backs were in position to make a play, but Tua just dropped in a absolutely perfect pass. There's nothing you could do. There's nothing you couldn't have better coverage. So, I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due, but at the same time, it is what it is. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to focus on the remainder of the season. And shout out to the Tennessee football players, man, because going into the game, I had no confidence. There was one point in the game. God, it was late in the game. I think it was 4th and 7, I guess third quarter probably. They were down big, 51-14, I think it was, and they go for it on 4th and 7. And my loser mentality was just punt the football and hope that Saban calls off the dogs. But this team, man, they just never quit. And I know we've said that so many times, but they don't quit. They believe in themselves, and I think that's a positive outlook moving forward to get bowl eligible, and that's the goal.
They did. And I mean, if you throw the first quarter out, they played pretty good the rest of the way. I mean, there were some mistakes, definitely, but they were only scored out after the first quarter. They were only outscored 30-21. Now, part of that, Alabama, they just kind of ran it at the end, but Alabama could have never thrown past the whole game and still put a ton of points on the board. I mean, their line and their backs are they're just incredible. I mean, that's the standard right there. That's where you want to get to, no doubt. And I think Tennessee saw that. But yeah, they didn't quit. I mean, they kept fighting. They kept trying the whole way. They were just outmatched. I mean, that's all you can say about it. Alabama's just on another level from them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even fair. I mean, the talent that he stockpiled down there, I mean that's just the thing. I mean, you see it every single year. They have guys that go to the NFL or graduate, and it's just, it's next man up. And, I mean, they just plug another five-star in. I mean, it's just unreal. I wished he'd hurry up and retire. I know that. I mean, I don't see how anybody is, plays within three touchdowns of them this year. I just don't see it.
Well, I laughed on you mentioned that, and Danielson said that one time. That Oh, there's probably 5 teams that can beat them. I was like, yeah, who? The Rams, the Patriots, throw 3 more NFL team, the Chiefs, and a couple
Five
more.
five
I mean,
teams if they play absolutely flawless, maybe. Yeah, I mean
and
Alabama
Alabama
can
to
be
play
beat.
just awful.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But on
don't see anybody hanging with them.
I don't
no
either.
on
I,
paper it's not going to happen. Which that kind of leads me to this. I thought it was a pretty, I'll just go ahead and say it, dickhead thing to say on the broadcast. And I hate Gary Danielson. I do. I can't stand the guy. But the statement makes perfect sense when he said, "How many people on this UT football team, if they tried out for Alabama, could even start?" And he said maybe 2 or 3. Do you think there are even 2 or 3?
I don't.
Don't
Who could start?
know.
Who could
I don't
start?
see anybody that could. Not even Trey Smith. I mean, he's not playing well.
I
I
mean,
mean, of course,
Tennessee
he's not
to
playing
me,
in the position that he should be in.
I think
Just
Tennessee's
because we
wide
don't evidently
receivers
have anybody else to play left tackle.
Tennessee's wide receivers are pretty dang good. They go up and they make plays. They showed that against Auburn, showed it some against Alabama. I still don't know that they start
No,
for Alabama.
not not
You could make an
not.
argument possibly Jennings, but and I don't even know. I mean, like you said, Alabama's receivers they're really good too. I mean, maybe Smith if you put him at guard, but I don't know. Based on what I saw yesterday, out of their line, they don't need Trey Smith on that
What's
line this year.
Yeah, I mean, what's amazing about it is how you look at third line, and it's like that. Our defense is like Velcro, you know. I mean, they get our hands on us, and we can't get off of them. And then you look at our offensive line, and it's like
Shoo!
we
Oh
just
my
open
Well,
gosh!
up the
Don't
floodgates and
get me
just let them
started.
just. I mean,
if it was
it's
baseball,
sad.
if it was in baseball terms, there would have been a lot of whiffs yesterday based on blocks and stuff. Somebody would have had a lot of strikeouts yesterday. 'Cause I saw a lot of whiffs in the middle right
It,
there.
it was crazy. I mean, it's just crazy.
What's
But
so concerning about the line is, and I don't want to start this conversation yet, but I mean, when JG went out, Chris looked good. There's no denying it. He looked good. But we talked about how quick he gets the ball out. And I think when Tennessee had some success against Auburn, it was getting the ball out quick because you can't rely on protection. What concerns me so much moving forward is that's all fine and well. You can design plays throwing the football to get the ball out quick, right? I mean, that's common sense. What concerns me is the inability to run the football, especially against SEC teams,
it's non-existent.
I mean, they had negative yardage in the first half, and I think they finished with 30 some yards, but
31 yards, I believe.
on
Yeah.
30 carries, 31 yards on 30 carries, and how much of that came in scrub time? So the real concerning factor is 4 games against SEC opponents. Tennessee has 321 yards on 145 carries. That's 2.2 yards per carry in SEC play. That's embarrassing. That's beyond embarrassing. What do you do? What do you do? Do you just throw the ball all game? I mean, good gosh, at what point do you just have to give up on running the football? I know you have to run the football, but 2.2 yards a carry?
Well, and I mean that's what I said last week. After the Auburn game, yeah, I mean we won that game, but that's not getting in third down and long is not a recipe to win very many football games. And yes, it happened against Auburn, but if we continue to do that, I think it's going to be hard to make a bowl game. I mean, I just don't know how that we can consistently win with that. And that's the thing because we got what 5 games left. So you know I don't know. I don't know how we do it.
I cut out. You still there?
I'm still here.
JP, you still there? We may have dropped JP. Well, I don't even know where he was going with that.
Let me stop it.
No, we'll keep rolling. just talking about the offensive line play. What's so frustrating is knowing that this football team is an offensive line away from being really good on offense. I think the running backs have proven that they're good football players. The wide receivers, I think the wide receivers are they're the best playmakers on the team, hands down. The way they go up and get balls, Palmer, Callaway. I know he had a drop against Alabama, but for the most part, man, he's a great playmaker. And then the quarterbacks, I don't want to start a quarterback controversy between Chris and JG. I honestly just think that they're both decent. Like neither one of them is standalone. You know that's the guy that you go with. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Do you agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I do. And you mentioned what I like about Chris. He gets rid of it. I mean, he's not, and I think that's JG's problem. He holds on to the ball too long. He's not seeing blitzes. I don't think he is. You just don't have time with that line. I mean, you really don't. I understand. Sometimes you just got to get out there and throw the ball away, and that's where and I'm with you. I don't want to see a quarterback controversy, but Chris did look good when he came in yesterday. And I mean, it's hard to say, especially after the game JG had last week. I mean, that's the best game he's had. He looked really good. So it's still his job. I mean, I don't know if he plays this week or not. I know Pruitt said he'll be back, but
Did they give an update on the injury?
I hadn't heard anything. I mean, the only thing I heard was Pruitt say he'll be back. That's the only thing I heard. I mean, that could be this week. That could be later on. But I did see enough out of Chris to where if JG cannot go, I feel comfortable with Chris running the offense back there, no doubt about it. The line, man, it seems like the only way they're getting any kind of yardage is on those pitches. They're not getting anything in the middle. I mean, you can see times where they tried to run it in the middle and guys are having to try to bounce it outside because the whole line's collapsed right in the middle.
Yeah, I would love to see a stat breakdown of runs to the inside versus outside. And even when they have success, like if it's something up the middle, the only time it has success if the running back cuts back. That's the only time they have success. So that middle of the line, and we talked about Kennedy going down, and I know we ripped on the guy against West Virginia, but I think him going down has really impacted the center of that offensive line.
It has. I mean, it's hurt them a lot. I don't know what Ryan Johnson's struggling at center, and then normally, I mean, with Niehaus and whether it's Jameer Johnson or whomever it's in there, it just looks like they're really undersized in the middle, and it's showing up against these stout SEC. I mean, they had trouble running against ETSU. I mean, ETSU's line gave them trouble. UTEP's gave them some trouble at times. So, we've harped on enough. I would like to see Trey Smith at guard and see him switch either Jameer Johnson or somebody out at tackle and see what difference it may make. Maybe it doesn't make a difference. I'm not there every day. There's a reason they're doing it, but it just seems they're really undersized in that middle.
Well, and I don't follow recruiting like you and JP do, but
Help's on the way.
They're after what? Two top offensive tackles? They got two?
They've got one committed, and then they're in. I've seen some of them say they lead for the top offensive tackle out of West Virginia. He's top offensive tackle in the country, Darnell Wright. So, and they've got 4 commitments from offensive linemen right now. And I think not to get back to Butch, that's a whole other category, but seemed like he recruited a lot of undersized linemen, more athletic guys maybe, and they're bringing in meat. Now they're bringing in some beef. Guys that, not these 260-pounders and hoping to beef them up. All these guys are 300 pounds or more that's coming in. So there's definitely help on the way.
Yeah.
And And I think some of these guys will have a chance to play some, if not start, play some meaningful minutes next year. I have no doubt about that. I mean that's what they need right there. I think you somehow got to get Trey Smith back to guard. I think that's his best spot. I think he's struggled some at tackle, and he's doing what he can do. I mean, I don't know. I would like to see it tried out, see what it done. Maybe have tried it in practice and it's not working. I don't know.
Talking about Butch Jones and his offensive line and the size that he recruited. I know we talked about it a little off air, but I still want to bring it up here because it pissed me off. Pissed me off. Butch Jones getting a Gatorade bath? Really? Really? Gatorade bath for an intern? And then like that didn't make me mad as much as it just kind of made me laugh. Like it's pathetic that you would give him a Gatorade bath. What pissed me off is seeing him in the locker room smoking the cigar. And I know he's part of the team. I know it's tradition. But at the same time, it's like you wouldn't be in that locker room if you didn't get fired for what you couldn't do at Tennessee. That's why it burned a little. And maybe I should just let bygones be bygones and just be done with it. But it did irritate me seeing him light up a victory cigar.
Well, I mean, it's like he was done wrong or something, is what it's being made like he's getting his vindication or something right there. I mean, it's whatever. I mean, when have you ever seen an intern get a Gatorade bath before? I thought it was a joke too. I mean, the one picture posted with him with another player with a cigar, and then there's one of him in his suit with a cigar like by himself that made its rounds too. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, that guy's a loser. I mean, he's a loser with a capital L. I mean, he's so insecure and needs to think that he's something that he's not. Uh, he's pathetic. He's absolutely pathetic. Um, he told one of the VolQuest mods that before the game that they'd already forgotten about all the nine win seasons and the 3 bowl games. Like, really, dude? You you lost 3 out of 5 to Vanderbilt. You helped us complete the worst season in program history at 4-8. Get out of town, freaking loser.
What I want to say though is, I mean, the guy, he lost, but at the end of the day, he didn't take the job and come here to sabotage Tennessee. He didn't take the job and come here to try to lose. I truly believe that the guy gave his all. I do, but the bottom line is his all was not good enough, and so it's time to move on.
He's a
But
fake and a fraud.
there's still, I think he's an asshole, is what he is. I
Well,
mean,
he's a fake. I mean,
he's a used car salesman.
yes, that's what he is.
But at the end of the day, I do think he gave his all and tried to win. He's just not cut out to coach in the SEC. But what pissed me off about it is acting like he did something. He contributed to Alabama winning.
Yeah,
Whether
yeah.
Butch Jones is on the sideline, in the office, analyzing offensive plays, you could give me that position. You could give my daughter that position, and Alabama's still going to win football games. Does not matter. Irrelevant.
Do you know what Butch Jones contributed to that win yesterday? Is recruiting 250-pound offensive linemen. That's what he helped do. I mean, celebrating that, he's celebrating his own stupidity. He's celebrating his stupidity, thinking that he can have a major college football program that don't even have to have a strength and conditioning program. Whatever. Let's carry on. Forget him.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said earlier too. I mean he's recruiting linemen that are 260 pounds, hoping to beef them up, and now they're 280 in the middle. Just they're too small to be playing in the middle, right there. That's why you're seeing linemen now that are 300 plus pounds, and them days of guys coming in to beef up, they're over with. They're recruiting some beef now
Well, yeah,
to come in.
because we got a
I mean,
football
and
coach
you
that
got
knows what
to.
it takes to win in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean you can't I've never liked that philosophy. And I remember when Fulmer was there, they used to do it defensive lineman. They'd recruit a 260 pounder trying to beef him up to a tackle or something. I just don't like that philosophy at all. And I think that line will look a whole lot different next year. And I expect at least maybe multiple freshmen to be playing, depending on who signs.
I just hope that we can hold on to Wanya and get right. I mean, that's the thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I think it helped a lot last week when Tennessee beat Auburn with Morris.
Oh
I
yeah,
think that helped big time because that seemed to be the big competition for them right there. I mean, the Alabama game, it is what it is. It's what we expected. I mean, you and I were fairly close on the score last week. I think we didn't pick Tennessee score 21, but we both had Bama in the 50s. I had them. I think you had them 52. I had them 55. So
mm,
I mean, we were pretty close on that. It wasn't any surprise. Anything yesterday wasn't.
I don't. This is for the Alabama troll that's made it 20 minutes into the podcast and is going to say, "Oh, making excuses." I'm not making excuses. We talked about it during the game. Alabama's the better football game. The officiating did not play a part in the outcome of the game. I know that. I'm not an idiot. Alabama is the better football team. We gave them probably 10 minutes worth of praise to start this podcast. But have you ever seen anything like the officiating yesterday? I mean, I find it funny Alontae Taylor gets ejected for throwing a punch, but yet we can't get any footage of the punch. It just – they kept saying, wait for it, it's right here, it's right here. Well, they didn't show it. Let's get this other. Nope, not there, can't see it, nope. But the call that baffled me more than anything was Jennings. The offsetting.
offsetting. Yeah,
It made seeing the replay, what'd they show it, 2 or 3 times? All he's doing is blocking. And he
yeah.
gets punched in the face twice, and it's offsetting. I've never seen – usually I'm not one to complain a whole lot about officiating. Holding, I complain about holding quite a bit. Usually on Saturday afternoon, my phone is getting blown up by JP and Jeremy Davis, who is a loyal listener to this podcast. Usually both of them complain about officiating from beginning to end. I'm usually not one that does that, but yesterday blew my mind. And it's like JP said, Alabama doesn't need it. Why is this happening? Why is it happening? There's no excuse for it.
It's every
There's
single
not.
Bama game.
Yeah.
It don't matter who they play. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's a reason that the SEC office is located in Birmingham, fellas. There's a reason. There's a lot of money that conference is making because of the dominance that Alabama's doing. And I can be called a whiner, a crybaby, an idiot, or whatever, but it's every single week. It's against. It doesn't matter who they play. It happens. It happens.
But what makes no sense to me is if Alabama was playing, say, LSU, right? And the SEC is on the line, and the powers that be want Alabama in the SEC championship game, and it's a 3-point game, and they make a call like that. That makes sense to me. But when Alabama's beating the piss out of Tennessee and you're making calls like that, I don't understand. I don't understand it. Why are you making those? If you're dirty and you're doing something dirty, I don't understand why that's the time you would choose to do it. And if you're not
Well,
dirty, what are you? Are you blind? I don't. I can't wrap my head around it. I cannot wrap my head around the officiating in yesterday's game.
well, you know, just like last week's game against, or when the guy went MMA, you know, the defensive lineman for Alabama on the Missouri guy.
What was that?
I
What
mean,
was that?
and
Did he even get thrown out of the game?
no, no,
He threw like 3 or 4 punches,
3 or
man.
4 punches, pushed him, put his knee in his back, and they gave him a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct, but don't throw him out of the game. I mean, explain that. Explain that. You can't. You can't explain it except it's just a bias towards Alabama. I mean, it is. And
I
and
don't
and
have
that's the
anything to
thing.
add.
It doesn't make any sense because it's not like that they need to help. Yes, they are the best team in college football by a landslide. Nick Saban's the best coach that's ever coached college football. It's a dynasty that I doubt will ever be touched. What he's doing down there. So if these Bama Reds, bandwagon Bamas, want to get on here and yell at me and call me whatever they want to do, fine. I don't care. I could care less.
You know
But
what's funny? They
explain that one
commented.
to me.
They commented on last week's video. They're so freaking pathetic that they were commenting on last week's video asking where this week's. You know what? I appreciate all y'all. I appreciate you Alabama fans, you Auburn fans, you Georgia fans. You're freaking pathetic that you show up week in and week out to a Tennessee podcast just to run your mouth. I think you're sorry human beings, but I appreciate your support. I appreciate that. I'm going to cash a paycheck this week for all the views you guys give us on YouTube, so I appreciate that. And that's all I'm going to say about Alabama. You got anything else you want to add to this debacle, Rock?
Nah, I mean, like you said, they don't need any help. It was some of them, a couple times it was. I think Tennessee was at Chance Hall was called for a penalty, and yet they let a horse collar go right there. I mean, the last week, and listen, we debated this one on there that when Tyler Bird caught the touchdown, the Alabama guy was initially he was thrown out for targeting, and I agree that he shouldn't have been because what's a defensive guy supposed to do when an offensive guy lowers their head? But it can't be a double standard because last week Batuli was thrown out of the game for the exact same thing. It can't be one way one week and one way the next. It's got to be consistent. So
Well,
do I agree that the Bama guy shouldn't have been thrown out? Yes. But if Batuli's going to get thrown out for it, the Alabama guy needs to be thrown out for it too. It's got to be the same all the way around.
Right.
It can't just
That's
change
my problem with
based
it.
on how you feel.
Like I think you got guys out here making good football plays getting ejected, and I would have never said that Alabama kid should have been ejected for the hit on Tyler Bird. But when you look at it for what it is, helmet to helmet contact by rule, if you're going to throw one guy out, you got to throw the other out. You got to be consistent, and that's the problem with not just college football. That's the problem with sports in general, is being consistent across the board.
It is. I mean, you've got to call it both ways. I mean, it's if Batuli's out, then the Alabama guy's got to be out. It's just and I mean I'm. It's like I've said. What's a defensive guy supposed to do if he's going in for a tackle and an offensive guy lowers his head? You're already in motion. You can't do anything about it. Right there. If a guy launches, if a guy just blatantly comes in and plows him in the head, that's one thing. But I mean, we're seeing guys get thrown out every week for it, and it's like I say, if Batuli's out, the Bama guy's got to be out too.
well,
The bottom line is it's a physical sport. It's every person that plays football knows what they're signing up for. They do. They know what they're signing up for. And I'm all for protection and player safety, but when guys are just trying to make plays, you got to quit nitpicking. I think if you're going to have a targeting rule, you have to look at the intent of the defensive player. It's like I saw some people on VolQuest complaining about the hit that put JG out. That was just a good football play. Was it violent and physical? Absolutely, but it was a picture-perfect tackle. Nothing wrong with that hit.
Yeah, but go and look at the hit that the LSU defender put on Mississippi State's quarterback last night that got him ejected for targeting.
I didn't see that, but again, you're talking about consistency.
Well, I know.
That's
but,
what it boils down to. You got to be consistent.
And he is arguably LSU's best defender, and I'll let you guess who their next game's against.
Oh, yeah. And he'll be out
the
first
off
half.
this week, too?
Let me guess. I don't know. Is LSU off this week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
So he'll miss the first half against Alabama.
Yep.
Imagine
Their AD is already on. I call him Skanky. His name's Sankey, or Greg Sankey, from SEC commissioner. Supposedly today he's already been reaching out to him over it. But if you watch the replay, yes, his helmet and a lot of his face mask hits the Mississippi State quarterback, but he has his hands out in front of him too, trying to push him, like in the chest as well. And they reviewed it and kicked him out.
I mean, the SEC officiating's terrible. It's been all year long. I mean,
Always is.
yeah, it just seems like it keeps getting worse every year. I don't. They need to do something about it because it's just terrible.
I wanna move on and talk
Honestly,
about. Go ahead.
I I I was just going to say I think that that's the way the SEC wants it because I mean they've got who they want to win, who they're going to give their favorites to, and it is. And I know I sound like a whiny, but I mean it's true. I mean there's so much inconsistencies, and I'm telling you right now, when they say that they're down there in Birmingham looking at the play in
And we
the
all
in
three
the
just
office,
laugh.
I mean, do you not think that those people are Alabama fans? I mean, seriously, it's ridiculous.
I mean, it's just the same as like in basketball, Kentucky.
Well,
I
yeah.
mean, Kentucky's gonna get the calls in basketball. It's the same thing. It's set and whatever they want.
Well,
Too much
let's move
money.
on. Let's move on. Like I said, I want to talk about the remainder of the schedule and getting bowl eligible. But one more thing I want to talk about before we move on from Tennessee, Alabama, because I wasn't here last week. I didn't get to talk about it. I spot checked the podcast, if I'm being honest, because I've been so freaking busy the last week. So I didn't get to listen to the whole thing. But play calling. Where do you guys stand on Helton now after Auburn and after the Alabama game? I know there's one thing we all agree on. We'll let Rocky bring it up, but what do you got? What do you guys think of Helton? Still, are you still on the fence? Are you against him?
Boy, he's inconsistent at times, and part of me wonders, when you've got that offensive line. I know it handcuffs you, but did the play call not change when Chris came in, or was it just a case of Chris getting rid of the ball quicker? Because all of
I'm
a sudden they
starting to.
started rolling.
I'm starting to agree with you. As much as I love JG, man, he's a freaking warrior. And again, Davis, the same listener, sent me a text. He was like, "Man, that JG, he's a gamer. He's a trooper, man. He's tough." I said, "Do you know what tough means when you say that about a quarterback? It means his offensive line sucks, and he manages to pick himself up off the ground time and time again. That's all it means. He not taken away from JG, but you've said all year long he holds on to the ball too long. I think that's the difference we saw when Chris came in. Chris recognizes blitzes. He makes changes to the offensive line, to the blocking. I think he picks things up. He sees things better, and he gets the ball out fast. And I think that's the difference. I don't know if play calling necessarily changes. I will say that the wheel route was a freaking picture perfect play call for the touchdown from Christ. But
Yeah,
man,
but
if I told you that Christ was going to throw a strike to Bird up the middle for a touchdown before the game, would you have believed any of that?
Not with what all you had to say was Bird, and I wouldn't have believed it. I
You
mean,
said
but
what?
I don't
I
understand why Bird can't get on the field. I mean, he looked good in that one pass, but and he's quick. He's like probably one of the quickest receivers that we got by far.
Tennessee has some good receivers, man. They do. They've got some good receivers. I really truly
Well, but
believe that. We talked
but
about
they
when you
just don't
got
have
dropped,
anybody that can stretch the field.
but all you got to do is throw the ball up and let them go make a play. They've done it the
Well,
last 2 weeks.
I understand that, but we also need some speed out there too. Which I
What
mean,
they need is an offensive line. They're an offensive line
well,
away,
yeah.
man, from being really, really good on
I
offense. I
mean,
really,
that's what
truly
I was going
believe
to
that.
say. I mean, we could have Alabama's receivers out there, and if we take our offensive line, they're not going to be any good because they're not going to consistently get the football because the quarterback's going to be on his hind end.
So do you get? Do
I
you
just
give
thought it
Hilton a
was
pass?
Do what?
No, go ahead, Rock. Go with where you're going.
well, I was just gonna say. I mean, it just odd to me, and it reminded me of back a few years ago, Worley was getting killed all the time. All of a sudden, Dobbs comes in. That line looks like a totally different line in there. Now, Chris isn't gonna have Dobbs' running ability, but I like that he got rid of the ball quick, and he wasn't back there taking licks. Listen, I know the line's not good, but Garantano takes a lot of unnecessary licks just by holding on to it too long.
And Pruitt has said
And
that himself too. He said the same thing.
he has, and so I don't. I mean, I just Helton's. I mean, that second quarter, he called a great second quarter, and then I think as the game went along, I think they was just trying to get out of there as the game went along. But
Especially the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter was nothing more than trying to get out of the game.
yeah, it just. I've thought more of him the last 2 weeks than I did prior to that. I will say that. I think his calls have been better, and a lot of it is execution. There's no doubt. But, I don't know. There's still some moments that. The first quarter yesterday was. Gosh, I don't know. I go back and forth on it, but I think it's made a difference since he's moved to the sideline.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I don't know that I can wrap my head around why. Usually, you think it would tend to be the other way around when they move up to the box and can see more. Two things that piss me off. I'm not a guy that generally harps on play calling. I think Hilton's done a decent job, but two things that I think we're all in agreement on is the third and long give up run plays. They did it multiple times yesterday. But also, why are you putting London in every single short yardage third down? Everybody in the stadium knows where the ball's going when London comes in the game. Does he even see the field unless it's third down and 1? And then he comes in and gets the ball and gets tackled for a lot. You can't run up the middle anyway. It doesn't matter who you got in the game. But I don't understand who they think they're trying to fool when they bring London in. We've seen him at fullback. We've seen him at tailback. It doesn't work. Does not work. That's a call that drives me nuts. And then but the third and long give up plays. And I get it, man. It's a video game, but let's play Madden or let's play NCAA. And it's third and long. Old Boogie's not above calling a draw play or a screen play. That's the way I am. I punt every fourth down, no matter what the circumstances are. But sometimes, good Lord, you got to try to convert a first down. It just amazes me that you've got a coach like Pruitt. Well, how many onside kicks has he done? 4? Something like that?
3 or 4.
I mean, it's been a lot. How many times has he gone for it on fourth down? He's got some balls. And then you got an offensive coordinator that seems to be the complete opposite.
Is that his call or is that Pruitt's call? Though
That you don't know. That you do not know.
I mean, if you're deep in your own territory and it's third and almost 20, I can see that. I can see it in that point. But when they were in Alabama's territory and it was third and 12 and you're calling that draw, I've got a problem with that. I mean, you're at least try to hit a play. If you throw an interception, so be it. Right there. But
Or maybe you're in 4-down territory and you try to pick up half, man. Call something, and if you have to check down underneath, pick up half of it, something. You can't run the ball up the middle anyway. And again, I know
they didn't
I
run
sound
that
negative.
with Chris. They didn't run that with Chris then, though. That makes me wonder about their confidence in Garantano to get rid of it.
But if you don't have confidence,
that
why is he starting? Why is he starting? That's something that drives me nuts.
It's just a theory, and I may be off
Oh,
on that
I know. I'm just saying, if you don't have confidence in your guy, then go with the other guy. But it's like we said, too, when JP got kicked off. I think it's a matter – I think this whole quarterback controversy, who's better, JG or Chris, I think they're both just mediocrity. I think they're middle of the pack, and nobody is really better than the other. But JG's the guy. Maybe he showed a little more leadership. They say he practices better. I don't know. Chris, those are pretty well, though. I'm not one to pull for the backup, but He throws a pretty
I
ball.
think I think that Garantano has a strong arm. I mean, I think it's the speed of the game and just recognizing things. That's what's killing him. I mean, that's what's keeping him from being a really good quarterback. But
Experience,
with the
experience.
offensive
Look at the
line,
experience.
I mean, who knows? With a good offensive line, I mean, all of that may change. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, but yeah,
But the same could be
I mean,
said
I
for
thought
Christ. The same could be said for Chris. You give him a good line, let him sit back and settle in the pocket and go through his reads. It all starts up front, boys. How long you been saying that, JP? You've said that since we started this podcast.
ever since I've watched football, I mean, I mean, it's where it all starts. I mean, it is. I mean, I mean, that's where teams dominate. I mean, that's what makes you good is if you can
Especially
control
in
the
the
line of
SEC.
scrimmage.
Especially in
Well,
the SEC.
I mean,
You
it's
can get
all over the
cutesy. You can
place.
get cute. You can get cute in the Big East or the Big Least, whatever it's called now.
Is that even
It
a
just doesn't
conference
work.
anymore?
It's not
I
even
don't.
a conference in
Yeah,
football anymore.
it does
Still in
no.
basketball, but
But
well, I mean, both quarterbacks are going with basically a non-existent running game. So defenses they're peeling their ears back on them. I don't know if they need to run quicker plays, but again, I think like JP said, it's just a matter of the game's a little fast at times for Garantano, and he's not picking stuff up. Give him a little more. You give him a run game, it would make a difference, and obviously a line. I mean, you've got an undersized line in there. It's just, I have no doubt guys are in there giving it all they got, but you're going up against some of these, especially on Bama's line. They've got a big line. Auburn's line, that's two of the best ones you'll see. There's just nothing. You just can't expect a 280-pound guard to go in there and block against a 300-plus pound defensive tackle or defensive lineman. It's just a big mismatch.
what
And it was consistently yesterday.
for me,
Yeah, I know,
the whole
but you know
JG
what
the whole
was
JG thing, the sack fumble on the second drive. I think everybody in the stadium knew that Bama was bringing pressure, and JG just seemed like he had no clue that it was coming. Just never even looked to that side. But on the flip side, you talk about offensive line play. I think
we
Bama
didn't
brought
touch him.
five. I think they brought five on that play,
We had
and
to guard
Tennessee couldn't
Carvin.
get anything on him.
Carvin just stood there and watched him go by. I mean,
Yeah.
Carvin didn't block a soul. That was
So while
Carvin's backer.
it's hard to blame JG for that. At the same time, it seemed like he never even had a clue pressure was coming from that side. Never had a clue. I'm
Well,
real
I mean,
pissed at
in
myself
his
because I
defense,
seem
he
real
didn't have a
negative.
whole lot of time. I mean, it was like a second after the snap, and the guy was there. I mean,
But I'm talking
we.
pre snap. You got the
I,
safety sneaking over.
I understand.
You gotta have some football IQ to see that coming.
Yeah, but
But
he's
and
probably
I
sitting there
know what you're
thinking,
saying.
well,
I know
I've got
what
a
you're
guard
saying.
here that's going to
Yes,
block that guy.
yes. You should be able to block it. I agree. I'm being negative. What's wrong with
Well,
me?
basically, the whole quarterback thing, I think, unless JG can't go, I mean, it's his job unless he can't go. I don't think he's done anything to lose the
Oh,
job
I think
by
so
any
too.
means.
I think
I
somebody said
mean, I feel
Chris
good with. I
did what
feel
he's supposed
good
to
if we
do.
have to go with Chris that he can come in and get the job done. But it's Garantano's job. He
Yes.
just cause Chris came in and he did look good when he came in, but I don't think that made him overtake Garantano, especially when you consider a week earlier Garantano threw for 328 and had the best game of his career.
Absolutely. And that's
Well,
why I feel
It's
like a
still his
turd.
job.
I feel like a turd for
And
saying that.
what was the score when Chris came in? Was it 35-7 or
No, it was 28-0.
28-0? So I mean, yeah, I mean it was already 28-0. So I mean, was Alabama, playing as aggressive as maybe that they did at the start of the game? I mean,
I think they were.
I think so
I
too. I
don't
don't think
think
they'd called
Alabama
off the
called it
dogs
off
yet.
at any point.
No.
I mean, they did on. They weren't throwing, hardly in the second half. But as far as their defense, I would guarantee they never called the dogs off on defense. I mean, I guarantee they didn't want to let Tennessee score, and that's probably one thing that Saban can use this week is Tennessee got some, made some plays on them out there with the receivers. I just don't. I don't know. It was just all odd. It was how it kind of changed, and I can understand anybody, wondering this. They're at with Chris and Garantano. I still think it's Garantano's job, but I don't think that'll be the last. Unless he learns the ball, I don't think that'll be the last time we see him take some licks and get knocked out.
yeah. Well,
JP, you got cut
supposedly
off. We didn't get to ask you. Do you know what the injury status of Garantano is?
yeah, they reported on there that the MRI didn't reveal any kind of breaks or anything. So said he had bruised ribs, is what VaquaQuest said.
More
So, I
if he'll
mean, he's
play
got
this
bruised.
week. I would almost bet you'll see him out there this week.
Oh yeah, I would think so too. I would definitely think you'll see him out there.
And I hope he is out there. And I know I probably seem pretty freaking negative most of this podcast, but I'm a JG guy. I want to see him have success. Let's talk about the remainder of the season. Tennessee 3-4, and tough road ahead. But I think at this point, after Auburn, I think every game on the schedule is winnable. And I know Auburn, they probably caught Auburn at the right time. Auburn is struggling, but I still think Auburn's better than every team on the schedule from this point on. I think Tennessee can win every game on the schedule to get bowl eligible. What do you guys think? South Carolina this week, but just in general, you think they're going bowling or man, if you would, golly, going back to that Florida podcast, we were out at that point. This has been a season of ups and downs, man. Ups and downs.
Well,
we were out
something
after
that
Florida.
Now, something, not to change it when we come back, but something that we did mention from the game that I thought was pretty interesting was what about Pruitt's comments at halftime? We hadn't even talked about how he'll go recruit 25 more guys to come in here. And any idea who he's referring to?
I got mixed emotions.
I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, it is.
You don't.
It's the truth.
It's the truth. But when I spin it into, I hate to say corporate America, but just comparing it to my job. If my boss came into a meeting and said, I got 3 people on this team that are getting the job done. The rest of you all can hit the road. I'm going to go find 25 more people. You know what? I'm going to tell my boss where she can go. And from that moment on, I'm done. I'm checking out. And I think Tennessee has a lot to play for this season. So I think there's a fine line between being honest and being real and supporting your guys, man. That's a brutal comment to make, that there's 3 or 4 people on this team that are doing what they're supposed to do, and I'm going to go recruit 25 more people to help you guys out. To me, what that says is we're quitting. Like, the rest of this season doesn't mean anything. I'm going to go get 25 guys to come in next year, and then we'll start this process over. When Tennessee's got a lot to play for this year. So I put myself as a kid playing football for Pruitt, and I don't know how I would take that. So
But here's
it might
the
be
thing.
the
He's
truth,
not,
but it's
I mean, he's
Well,
not. If it was something he did every week, I could say it. But he's not. I don't know that I've seen him throw off. I mean, he said, they need to recruit and get more players, but I've never heard him badmouth the roster up until that point, and that's just the guy that doesn't like getting whipped. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, my job's different than yours, and I've experienced. My experiences. I don't need to go on it here, but sometimes, I mean, you get in the real world. If you don't get the job done, they'll get somebody in that'll do it.
That's the
If he
truth.
makes that
It
if he
is.
makes it a habit, yeah, that's one thing. But just a guy that doesn't like getting whipped like that. And there were some players that echoed the statements too, and some of the post game comments that said there's some guys out there that weren't giving the effort they need to give and
But
stuff.
what if
So
your
I mean,
boss
if the
came in that
players
and
are
said
seeing
that?
it too,
What if your boss said that to you this week, and you've got how many weeks of school left, and you're kind of feeling like, am I one of those three or four, or am I on the outs? Is that a guy you want to go to work for? Is that a person you want to go to bat for? I love Jeremy Pruitt. I love his honesty because when you watch the Coach Pruitt show, I love the fact that there has been multiple times that he said, well, Bob, we were set up in the right play call and just didn't execute. And then 30 seconds later, he says, I got to do a better job setting our guys up for success on third down. I did a bad job. I think he calls a spade, and I love that. But you got to be careful, man. You still got a lot to play for. And I've not seen this team turn on him yet, so maybe I'm just making something out of nothing.
I don't know. I mean, if it's me, I'm told I don't want to lose my job, so I'm going to do what it takes to ensure that I don't. And I think if you've got the mindset of just if you're a player and you say, well, I mean, it's different in college football now because with these transfer rules, yeah, I mean, guys can just pick up and hit the road. That's a different comparison to us because we can't afford to do that really. But in college, they can. I see the point. I definitely see the point. I don't think he needs to make a habit out of it, but at the same time, yesterday, I don't have a problem with it when you're getting spanked like that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not the first time that he's called out players for their effort, though. I mean, it's not the first time. But
But
now,
he's not said anything about, I'll just recruit 25
Replacing
other
them.
guys that'll
Yeah.
take your place either.
well, yeah, maybe
The
not
context the
publicly,
context
but
was different because
who knows what he's told the
I heard before the game he basically said, "Listen, we're not as good as them, but I promise you we're going to do everything we can to get to their level." That's different than pulling a group of kids in at halftime and saying, "Well, basically most of y'all suck. 3 or 4 of y'all are pretty good, and I'm going to replace everybody on this team that sucks." That's
Well,
that's when you cut down to it, that's what he said.
no, it really wasn't.
You
If you
don't
cut
think
down
so?
to it, and no, because he clarifies it and says that when they were calling defensive plays, and he said that he couldn't really speak for the offense because he pays obviously more attention to the defense, but he said, we call specific plays, and he says they don't even cover the guy. He
Or
said,
doesn't even look
we
to the
call,
sidelines. Or yeah,
yeah, yeah. So that's what had him so upset because he even said on his coaching show that, sometimes you're just not good enough to just beat the man that is in front of you. Just basically saying, that we don't have the talent. And, but he was saying, that's all right because, we can't help that we're not as good talent wise as Alabama is at this point in time. So, but I think it's more of the mental aspect of it is that what got him so aggravated yesterday.
yeah. I think it's a case of, hey, if a guy's not going to look to the sidelines and do what they're supposed to, we'll get somebody in there to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's more what it was. More in because he did mention that about there were times they'd call something, guys wouldn't even look over there for the call, and then I think that's what had him aggravated. I'm sure some of the stupid penalties had him aggravated too.
I mean, the bottom line is
But
none of us really know what was said in that locker room. All we're going by is
No.
the summary that he gave when he came out after halftime. And again, I'm not hating on Pruitt. I love the guy. I love his honesty. I love listening to his coaching. There's nothing more admirable than seeing the head coach say, I got to do a better job. Like, do you know how much harder I would want to work for my boss if we had a meeting and they said, listen, guys, I got to do a better job helping you all. I'm ready to run through a brick wall. If a boss said that to me, they're taking responsibility for the team, but too many times it's the other way around, just putting the blame. So I admire him for that. I do. I think he legit calls a spade, whether it comes off wrong or right. I don't know what he said in that locker room, and I
We'll
truly
find out
believe.
Saturday. I
I was
mean,
sitting there watching that Auburn game, and I said, I hate that. That's how bad is that? I don't even think I told you guys this. We're at a comic convention. Me and old Adam Wade Adams sitting at a table. I got my cell phone propped up in front of me watching the Auburn game. Some guys at the table asking about Comic Cast, and Adam's trying to talk to him, and I'm like it. I start screaming.
zoned out.
It was middle of a play. I don't even remember what happened, man. I just start yelling, and that guy's like, "Well, okay, I'll talk to y'all later," and just walked off. Looked at Adam. I was like, "I'm sorry, man. I've got priorities in life, and Tennessee football is above this table right now." But man, I'm behind Jeremy Pruitt 100%, and I think Tennessee backed into a great hire. I really do. I have all the confidence in the world in him to turn this around. What did we talk about at the beginning of this season? All we wanted to see was the team progress. Have we not seen that? I think there's
Oh,
one
yeah.
position. There's one position group that's not progressed, and that's the offensive line. But everywhere else, I think everywhere else on the field, Tennessee has gotten better since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think. I mean, the secondary had a rough day yesterday, but again, look who they're playing against. I mean, that's the best offense they're going to see.
That
But
and some of our best defensive backs are hurt right now, or Lonte Taylor gets kicked out of the game in the first quarter.
mm-hmm.
Uh, for supposedly throwing a punch at somebody,
Well, Pruitt
but
did say he said that he did it right
he
in front
saw it.
of him. Yeah, he
Yeah,
didn't
Did he throw a
target.
punch or did he throw an open hand slap? There's a difference.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Pruitt didn't take up for him though. He said he hit the guy right in front of me. He said you can't
Maybe
do that.
maybe he should have threw like a three of them, like a Mike Tyson thing combination, like
If you're gonna throw a punch,
Alabama
drop
guy
the
did.
guy.
That'll just get you a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
I think it depends whether it's on your feet or on the ground. If he would have took a guy down and hit a few licks there, yeah, he just got a 15-yard penalty. But
Shoot the
it's on
double leg,
feet.
some ground and pound. It's all fine.
Yeah.
Open hand slap, you're done. Well, we were going to talk about the rest of the season, but we're approaching the hour mark. But still, let's just hit on it real quick. Rock, what do you think? With 5 games left in the season, do you think Tennessee finds a way to win 3 of 5 to get bowl eligible?
They can. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm still. The good thing is the toughest part of the schedule's over, and I mean, they've got some injuries, but it's not. I mean, we'll see. What happens with the quarterback. I think every game is definitely winnable, but every game outside of Charlotte's also losable too. I mean, none of the SEC games left are going to be easy games. I think this is a very winnable game this week with South Carolina, and I think if either team drilled the other one, I would be really surprised by it. But I don't have a prediction right now. I definitely feel a bowl game's reachable. I mean, after Florida, I would have said no way. But I mean, they've got to continue progressing and stuff. And the good thing is, you're not playing Alabama this coming week. Protect your court.
Yeah.
You got to get a run game going. I mean, if you're not going to be able to run it, you're going to have a hard time winning any games from here on out. But you got to get that run game going. And I don't think we'll face another offensive line like Alabama's, because the defensive line had been playing pretty good up until yesterday. I mean, they just was beaten by a better line yesterday. So we'll see. I think they can definitely get to a bowl game, though. No doubt.
I think if they find a way to win on Saturday against South Carolina, that will definitely raise the odds. I mean, because Charlotte's a win. Kentucky, man, Kentucky and Missouri scare me more than anybody left on the schedule. I think if they beat South Carolina, I'll feel a whole lot better. What about you, JP? You think they get bowl eligible, or where are you at on the fence?
I
Did that make any sense?
I think Saturday is huge. I think the South
I
Carolina
agree.
game
I
is
agree.
absolutely huge, and it's not setting up well because South Carolina was on a bye, so they're going to be rested. Tonight game, wished it was another 12 o'clock kick personally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Tennessee's going to come in. We're going to be beat up. From this Bama game. Physically, and did it do anything to us mentally? I hope not, because there was so much that we could see progress made in that Auburn game, and that's what I don't know if I mentioned it on here last week, but I know I was saying, and I was like, man, I just wish that the Bama game had been before that Auburn game, because we knew what was going to happen a week after,
Right.
coming off of that high, winning that game, not even supposed to win that game, not even supposed to be in it at all, and then win that game, and physically, Tennessee dominated second half of that game against Auburn, and that's what was so great about it, and then to see what happened to them Saturday. So I think the South Carolina game is very winnable. Uh, I don't think South Carolina is very good. If you look at their statistics, um, they're not a good defense. They're not good against the rush. They don't get a whole lot of pressure on the quarterback. Their offense has been struggling. They got Debo Samuel, who's a really good wide receiver. Hopefully we can get Taylor or Thompson to lock down on him. And I think that if we can have the same type of game plan that we had against Auburn, I think definitely we can go into South Carolina and win that football game. But I think that is going to be one that is going to be a struggle. I look for a very, very close football game.
Main thing they need to do, and they haven't done it all year, they need to start some games fast and get
Fast, yeah.
rolling. They've not started a game good the whole year. And you can't afford to fall behind to these teams coming up either, because they're good enough they can take advantage of that. So hopefully they can come out of the gates rolling in some of these games and put the pressure on the other team, because I don't know if they've put pressure on anybody this year, and they've kind of they came back against Auburn and manhandled, beat them pretty handily in the second half, but you don't want to get in a deficit against South Carolina or Missouri or Kentucky or Vanderbilt. All four of those teams are definitely capable of beating Tennessee. Hopefully they'll come out of the gate quicker and kind of put the pressure on the other team, because they haven't done that yet this year.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
It would help tremendously for sure.
let's go ahead and make our South Carolina picks for this Saturday. I I'm not even going to go in depth. I'm just going to say I think Tennessee finds a way to get it done. I think, like I said, I'm not even going into. I think Tennessee wins 24-21. I think they find a way to win another close game on the road. I think it says a lot that Jeremy Pruitt is the fastest active SEC coach to win a road game against a ranked opponent. And I know that's a pretty random stat to throw out there, but it is what it is. That says a lot that he's the fastest active SEC coach to win a road game against a ranked opponent, especially with the talent that they have down there at Tennessee right now. So I'm taking Tennessee over South Carolina 24-21. I think they find a way to get bowl eligible after beating South Carolina. JP, what do you think this Saturday against South Carolina on the road?
Well, it's certainly a homer pick for me because I could see South Carolina winning this football game with, especially coming off a bye week, and probably Tennessee's going to be beat up. But I'm like you. I think some way that the Vols find it. I'm gonna say 27-20. I think that we finally got a coach that's better than the other coach on the sideline, and Will Muschamps. He's never lost as a head coach to UT.
which is sad. He should have
Yeah, which is
lost.
sad because I mean he was horrible at Florida, and then basically he owned Butch there at South Carolina too. So even in the 2016 season, that's when I was officially off the Butch wagon, was in 2016 at Columbia. So when he blew that game. So but some way somehow, Vols Vols get it done. I mean, I think that if they can beat an Auburn team, which I know Auburn's struggling offensively, but talent wise, I think Auburn's probably one of the top four most talented teams in the Southeastern Conference. And if we can go down there and win against them, we can certainly go to South Carolina and win that game Saturday.
I guess it's my turn.
I was going to say, do I need to pitch to you? Come on, man.
Yeah, I
Two of
thought
the
you were
three are
going
done.
to.
2 of the 3 are done. It's your turn.
Oh, okay. All right.
We need to do about 50 more podcasts before you'll pick up on it.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, it just depends. A point you said that wonder how they are mentally after this week. And I think it's one you just got to put behind you and move on. I don't think anybody's shocked by what happened. I think Tennessee will come out. They built on Auburn. I think they'll be able to run it a little bit better. I think Tennessee wins 31-21 this week. I think they'll take care of business. And like you said, I definitely think Pruitt's a better coach than Muschamp. And I think it's time that somebody down there shows it and is not just content losing to this clown. Because Muschamp's a clown. I don't like him. I hadn't liked him since he was at Florida. Don't like him in South Carolina. They need to come out and beat South Carolina like they should do this week. 31-21 Vols.
I like it.
I love it.
I want some more of it.
Thank you. Good Lord, I was waiting on Rock to jump in, and he's just over there sleeping, just not paying attention.
Nah, man, my country days are behind me.
Well, I think that is going to wrap it up for Talkin Vols episode number 38. Again, if you're listening to this on YouTube, do us a favor, hit that like button, leave us a comment, and subscribe. If you're on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you meet your podcast needs, come over to the S&B Network on YouTube. So close to 1,000 subscribers. That'll help grow the podcast. But for Vols JP and our main, I am Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
Jack Kerouac, he drank himself to death in New England, and I'd like to take his hand and say, Jack, man, it's okay. Now he's gone, and we're left to move on without him. Songs howl like me, poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call home. And it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive. Black and white headlights pierce coals, blazing arrows, burning me to the marrow. But fire brings peace as well as it brings fear. You're the only thing I hear, and I want that. The dogs howl like me, poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call home. And it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive. The dogs howl like me, poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit, smashed and broken in the sea. When